I'd like to welcome Adam Steinhoff, and he is the brainchild behind Unify, and will be talking to us and answering questions about Unify. So, welcome, Adam.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
So, Adam, what does Unify do?
Unify is a module within the Manage SaaS Alerts product that correlates data between the SaaS events that we're receiving, whether it's Microsoft, Salesforce, those types of large applications, even the MSP tools, and the RMM devices themselves. So we're actually able to say with a decent level of certainty that this event not only happened by Ben, but it happened on Ben's known managed RMM device.
Well, Adam, how does it work? How does it know that, my computer is the one that's signing into Microsoft?
Well, if I told you, I'd probably have to kill you, Ben.
Oh, no.
No, it feels like magic, but it's not actually magic.
Mhm.
Really, what we're doing is we're pulling in important kind of metadata behind the scenes. So things like the IP address, the device name, the last logged in user with the email address and the full name. And we're looking at that data across both the SaaS event and the RMM device that we've imported and mapped to that particular account. And when we draw that correlation between that metadata, we provide a level of confidence score of whether we think that activity is happening on that device or not.
Sounds like magic.
Sometimes it feels like it.
What can I do with this information? What purpose can it serve for me as the MSP?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've seen this approach be used for really is for the token hijacking, harvesting type of protection. So, you have unfortunately the ability to grab tokens, or hackers can grab tokens way easier than it should be. And when those tokens are hijacked and harvested and used, that logon or that activity appears as if that user or that account actively did that. And, you didn't get the MFA prompt, you didn't get, any of the standard protection that you would think. The token just is like you having the VIP badge and being like, I'm with the band. And
I like that.
so what Unify is able to do now is really ensure that the activity that's happening is being done on a protected, managed, known RMM device. And so we're able to flag almost that needle in a haystack of a logon that would normally look like a low-level event, especially if it's happening within a country that you're expecting that traffic to happen from, or maybe even a state.
Hmm.
So now we're able to look at that activity and nearly with a level of certainty tell you that it was done on an active device that we are expecting that to happen from.
Hmm. So that's kind of, is that better than the whole impossible travel that seems to be asked a lot?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's just one more tool in the toolbox. I don't think it's an or, I think it's an and,
Hmm.
but definitely does change the game in that, we're seeing threat actors purchase IP addresses within certain regions or use VPNs to drop into where they know traffic is supposed to originate from. And so that impossible travel, while it is a great tool in your toolbox, it doesn't solve for the issue of the traffic looking like it's next door to the person who it's supposed to be from.
A good point. I've heard a little bit about the Entra ID too, and how that's being used. Can you explain to me kind of, how does that, work with Unify?
Right. So one of the issues that we had with Unify that I had to solve originally was situations where we had computers that were at like a corporate headquarters, and really good MSPs will have the OS be imaged, and the names often will be generic, and you really it's hard for Unify to pull out data when the machine name doesn't have anything in common with the username, when the IP addresses are all exactly the same because you're 200 computers behind a corporate firewall or a VPN, solution that where, even though you have users spread across the world, they all look like they're coming from the same place.
Hmm.
And then you've got the same OS image, so it's really hard to like pick and figure out whose computer belongs to which account. So the Entra device ID, what we do is we run a script on the device through the RMM on a regular basis, where that Entra device ID is pulled out of the device, stored in a custom variable. And then we're pulling that variable in, or that field in,
Hmm.
and then we're comparing it to what Microsoft is saying the Entra device ID for that access or that traffic is occurring from.
Hmm.
So now we're actually able to compare not only the IP, the device name, and those other things, but we're actually using a globally unique ID to ensure that the device is the right device.
Oh, wow. But that really improves the confidence score too, right?
It does, yeah, it really does solve for the really there's no other data that's different. That Entra device ID is really the best way to distinguish devices when there's so much commonality in them.
Well, what about in the scenario where I'm having like if I'm using Azure and I have a virtual desktop and we have a whole bunch of people signing into that, is there a way that we can map a whole bunch of people to a to one device?
It's interesting that you're asking me. As of yesterday, I just greenlit the enhancement feature for our developers to start building shared devices within Unify. So today, we do not support shared devices.
Hmm.
Very soon, that's product manager speak for I'm not promising a date, but very soon we will have the ability to map multiple accounts to a shared device like a VDI or a reception desk or a shop floor machine or something like that.
One of my last questions, is there any downside to enabling Unify? I mean, is it going to screw up my RMM or is it going to change data, and my PSA, stuff like that?
So at surface value, without getting, super deep and splitting hairs, no, there's really no reason why you wouldn't attach your RMM, have it import the devices, and map the accounts to Unify. At that point, all we're doing is enriching and enhancing the event and the alert data that you're getting already.
Hmm.
We're not causing any respond rules to trigger or any additional things that would generate any more or less alerts. It's really just provides you context around the alert or the event that we're bringing forth.
Well, and you mentioned Respond. Can I use this, this
Oh,
all information with Respond?
yeah, so we've got some partners really getting smart with Respond and with Unify combined, where they're able to maybe de-elevate an outside approved location event because it's coming from a known managed device. So they can assume that, Ben just went to Mexico on vacation and he brought his computer with him. That's different than Ben just showed up out of nowhere and we don't know why. Or the flip side is actually to elevate, almost needle in the haystack, those events that are just normal low level login events that would just go unnoticed to a higher level because it's happening from a device that is not a managed device.
Okay.
So they're definitely getting creative when combining those two modules.
Well, Adam, I really appreciate you answering some of those questions for me. Do you have any other information that we should know about Unify before we part ways?
It is under active development and it is always improving. The feedback that we get from our partners really makes the product better. So the more info, the more feedback, the more great ideas that I can get from our partner community, the stronger and smarter it is going to be. And it is, like you mentioned earlier, like it is one of the things that I'm super passionate about. So I am leaning in, and I hope that our partners will use it and protect small businesses across the world.